Wow, this whole time it's been streaming. That's fun. I love that. Mm, wow. All right. So, good morning. Thank you for your patience with that. I really appreciate your patience and your understanding. And this has been a particularly challenging morning for me. I have all my feelings right now about this and about so much more. There are days when, there's just days that leadership is just a lot of feelings that you don't want to feel. And that's my morning today. And that's been my week. And that's okay because I'm still here. And one of the biggest prayers that came forward for me last week in Austin was like the willingness to accept the next level support that I really need for this global ministry. Like to really like let myself call it in and let myself receive it because I really need it. And it's been a really interesting dance over the past 6 years of, because the teachings are so activating, because the mission is so big, because Christ consciousness is so intense. And because our ministry does include confronting human trafficking, it's like, it's been a really big dance to call in all the key players that I really need for this movement. And I just want to say here and now, with all of my feelings, right up in the feelings, like I'm calling you in, whoever you are across the world, like true professional dragon guardian light workers that are here to literally dance in the fire of this next decade with me. I just like, I need those people who really are meant to be here to wake up now and to show up now in a big way. So much of my ministry has been about trying to show what it looks like to recover from what I've done, from what I've recovered from, to such an extent that you wouldn't even recognize that what happened to me, but it happened. And that depth of sacrifice and that depth of show up that I do every day, like I need it to be met in a way that can help me reach millions of lives. There are so many days where it is not easy to do this. There's so many days I don't even know how I keep getting up to do this. And I do it because I love it and it's my calling. And it's exactly what I'm here to be doing. But like, let's be clear, it's incredibly challenging. And the prayer for me after 6 years of sacrifice and show up and grit and going so deep into a personal healing that really I should be dead from either suicide, addiction, or total abject grief and rage because of what happened to me. Like that was part of my work the past 6 years as well. And to do all of that personal healing while running an international movement, today is that day where I'm just like, you know what? There's just days where I don't even know how this is still going. I don't even know how I'm still going. Something is shifting in me where there's just this entirely new blueprint that has to come forward now for me to sustain and expand at a level that needs to happen for this ministry, because what this ministry is doing is literally unlike anything else on the planet. I don't have a problem saying that anymore because it's the truth. And I'm so grateful that as a platform, we're moving into that space of so many certified, activated Sophia Circle leaders that are really stepping up to the plate and moving this movement with us. So much gratitude for that. And we're in the middle of this shift where it's like, we want to bring them in and help have them become a part of the team in many ways. And so there's a midstream like shift that's happening here for me personally and also for our platform. And I just like, sometimes I barely feel like I'm going to survive the transition. It's, you know, Ashley Phoenix and I often joke about it. Like we are rebuilding the Millennium Falcon in the sky while we're being chased by the Empire. You know, that's how it feels. It's like, we keep building the ship and rebuilding the ship. And for years have been like, don't really let people know how challenging it is, because my job is to serve you completely. My job is to be here for you and to inspire you and to, assure you that you can do this by embodying every day that I'm doing it. And this morning, I just realized, like, I don't think I'm serving anyone by really holding back how much feelings are involved in this and how much I've gone through over the past year to keep growing this platform. I was talking to a business owner last week and she was like, oh, I lost, thousands of dollars on this one contractor that lied to me. And I was just like, and like, when you are building a business from the ground up, there are going to be people that lie to you. There's going to be people that steal from you. And it can involve a lot of money because you're literally building something from the ground up. I was talking to another entrepreneur the other day. He was like, do you understand how hard it is to build a tech platform from the ground up? I was like, actually, I do. You can spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on the wrong thing. It's huge. It's huge what we as light workers are attempting to pour our hearts into when the technology isn't allowing for, it hasn't, it's, we had our video team at Austin tell our video contractors tell our team, like, there isn't even technology to keep up with what's happening on stage. I was like, yes, thank you. Other humans can see it. They get it. I feel like I've been waiting my entire life for everything to catch up with what I came here to do. And I'm super grateful to every soul that's been a part of, helping, supporting, and co-creating this movement, getting this far and where it stands. But like when I stood on that stage in Austin, I stood at the 0 point. I was like, oh wow, a lifetime of sacrifice, a lifetime of learning, a lifetime of building and exploring, a lifetime of putting out the call. We just hit ground zero. We just hit the beginning point. I'm standing at the beginning. We'll all look back and say, we were there then in Austin when the fire really got lit, when people really started to understand what's going on here. Entrepreneurs come to me and they say like, oh, it's just so challenging having to find the right people, hire the right people, harmonize a team. Of course it is. Everyone's coming to the table with their trauma, their wounding, and their ego structures, just like you. Leading continually asks us to be bigger people, very often to be bigger than the behavior, than where people stand around us every day, and to keep embodying that so that everyone can choose to go higher. And there's just days you're not going to like it. I've had so many of those moments over the past 2 weeks. And I love it when people are like, be sure to rest, be sure to take time for yourself. And it's just like, are you kidding me? Do you have any idea what my calendar looks like from 5 a.m. to midnight? Because when you're building something from the ground up, it's just not normal hours. It's not a normal life in any way. And I don't begrudge that. I'm just being real about it. That's what's in that Stargate 2 curriculum for spiritual leadership. It's like time to get super real and sober to what your real dreams are, what it's really going to require of you. And start practicing now, because how many ways can you go sideways trying to navigate and circumvent the fact that like you do have to literally roll up your sleeves every day and show up whether you like it or not. That's how it is. After 3 attempts in this Mercury retrograde to go live and dealing with a bunch of things that I'm not going to go into. Do you think I wanted to go live? No. But in the beingness with what I'm really feeling right now and getting to connect with you in that space, it's like, I'm glad I showed up again. I really appreciate all of your feedback in the chat. It's very meaningful. Thank you. I really appreciate it. There's so many things that I want to create and birth over the next 10 years. So it's important that the right people awaken now. I feel like going to Paris is a big part of that. I don't know exactly what happens when I stand on that stage. Just like I didn't know what was going to happen when I stood on that stage in Austin, but something extremely powerful happened. I opened up to a part of my soul that I didn't even know was possible to come through me like that for 4 days. And what I have been able to future track about what's going to happen on that stage in Paris is massive. And it's a part of sending out that call for that truly quantum professional co-leadership to arise for this movement, for this business, and for this platform. Another thing that really came forward for me in Austin was how much I need to manifest that center. We have an enormous amount of funding for it, and I haven't. When we were about to drop an anchor in Sedona about a year ago, I got very, very, very attacked, and that was I shared about that in Austin, a defamation attack that was so painful for me because it was all lies, every bit of it. There wasn't a shred of truth in there. I had never been so hurt in all of my career. All I was trying to do was open a center to help survivors of human trafficking. And certain organizations funded a full-blown attack on my character because I'm actually tapping into the truth of what it takes to heal from human trafficking and to talk about it and to encourage others to consider that they can save their lives from rape as well. And what I saw in Austin was like, I have a mission to train so many leaders authentically in person to do the hands-on training, the ceremonial training, and the training in Christ consciousness, like what it genuinely takes at my own center, at a center for the Sophia Code movement. And it's taken me about a year to really recover and to get my head back in the game of looking for that right location, the right property, the right situation, and to invest in, to drop the anchor in. And so I know because at Austin, the Sky Grandmothers came through in such a big way. And they were like, it's time. Are you ready to invite that prayer to come forward again and to, allow us to support you in that? And I am saying yes to that. So, please join me in that prayer that not only the most incredibly authentic and embodied individuals are ready to show up and professionally serve and lead through the most powerful place within them, which is a humble place, because that's the only thing that's happening here every day, is a showing up every day. That they're going, not only are they arriving over this next year, but so are the doors of reality opening to that land, like the land, the property that we need for the Sophia Code Center. And, originally we were going to open up the Magdalene Healing Center first, right? To start working with survivors. And what I saw in Austin was that actually what we really need to do is we need to open up the Joan of Arc Leadership Training Center first, because there's going to be like multiple phases for this center. And the first I identified, I had it backwards. That can happen, when you're really in a channel state. A lot of the time, everything's quantum. So you'll get all of this information, but it'll be out of order because quantum reality is not linear. And so I realized it's actually the leadership training center that's the most important, because the more individuals that I can train hands-on and help them move beyond their fears, their anxieties, their trauma, the ego structure resistances that are keeping them from truly badass sovereign spiritual leadership, like the sooner we have an entire like angelic army to serve this many people that are waking up, that are going to need to heal from the ramifications of being in a matrix that is literally dedicated to the human trafficking and annihilation of our species. The rape consciousness of our species is affecting everyone, and most people don't even know it. Not to mention the actual survivors that are going to wake up to how much they've survived. We have to have leaders and teachers and healers that actually know how to have this conversation through Sophia Christ consciousness. And that takes time, and it takes in-person training. So there's a lot moving in me, and there's a lot moving in me, I guess, with this Mercury retrograde hitting me so hard this morning with all the tech breakdowns and all of the breakdowns and communication that I've been experiencing this week on different levels. And thanks for really going there with me. That's just what needed to happen. Usually we do Q&A today. And really quickly, the Q&A for today is, how do we resource courage to stay true to our heart's voice when our logical mind talks us out of what we know we are being guided to do? Is there a place in our body where we can feel the source of courage? And if so, how can we strengthen this courage muscle to answer more directly to the guidance our heart gives us? All right. I'm going to make this really brief because I've got to get to my next meeting. But brief doesn't mean I won't be powerful. There are two places that will help you be particularly powerful for you to identify when you need to step into your courage. Number one is your heart. So if your heart is guiding you to do something and you are resisting it, you're going sideways from it, you're going to feel it in your heart. And how are you going to feel it? You're either going to be running from your heart, or if you're listening to your heart's voice, you're going to feel a peace in your heart, even as you take an action that feels scary or intimidating to you. So, for example, at our Sovereign Spiritual Leadership Immersive in Austin, there were so many people that were really terrified of getting on stage, and totally fair. They're facing their biggest fears about being seen in the spotlight and allowing their voice to be heard. But those who did step up to the mic, were they not shaking? No. They were shaking, but there was a peace within their heart that they had made it to where their heart was calling them to go, which was behind the mic. Now, someone very similar that had the same fears as someone else, that their heart was guiding them to be on that stage, perhaps they decide to run. How long is that fear and that anxiety going to have them manifest weird behavior to keep them from acknowledging where their heart really wanted them to be? Maybe they spend a couple hours crying by themselves alone instead of being there on stage with me. Maybe they, God forbid, got in a car accident. Maybe they decided to get in a fight with their spouse, and it takes 3 days to recover from the spouse simply because they were running from their own heart. Just step up to that mic. Just show up. So that's how you know. That's the first center of knowing, like, if you are stepping into your courage, it doesn't mean that the fear isn't there. Courage is a divine virtue, active principle that's in response to the fear. It's like your guardian, your helpmeet, your spiritual guide through the fear. Courage walks you up to the mic of life, to the ceremony of life, especially when you're afraid. And you'll notice that your heart starts to get more peaceful, even if your body is still shaking. That's the number one center. You'll also know if you're running from your heart's voice, if you start doing all sorts of weird behavior and projecting that fear outside of you. So you're running from your heart. The next center is, for me personally, is my gut, my sacral chakra. I know if something needs to be done, if I can feel it in my gut. That doesn't mean I get a plethora of information from my sacral chakra or my gut. I just know a yes or a no. I know, like, I am supposed to do this. Why? I'm sure I'll find out. My gut is literally magnetizing me to this next step, this next choice, this next communication. What is the communication going to be? I don't know. It's going to come out of my heart chakra, my throat chakra. What is this next creative decision going to be? I don't know. It'll be downloaded through my crown chakra. My sacral chakra is just telling me this is the thing. And, or my sacral chakra is telling me, whoa, get out of here now. Leave now. This isn't in alignment. Go. Say no. Step back or step forward to walk away. So the sacral chakra for me is like a red light, green light. All day long. I don't have to know, what the next download is about it. I know that even if I'm navigating a certain level of confusion or healing in the decision of making, that if my gut says it's a yes, I can lean into my gut instinct and trust it. Trust that the rest of me is going to download what's really happening in that moment. And if I betray my gut, I betray myself. Just like when I betray my heart, I'm betraying myself. It took me a lot of years of cleansing and healing and self-forgiveness to come into a really deep relationship with my sacral chakra. Because we can store a lot of energies there, a lot of toxins there, that would disorient our trust in this center. And this is why our healing our body and coming into alignment with our health is really important. Because you can feel as though your body is betraying you and it's somatic truth, and it's not. It's the toxins in your body that are betraying your trust. Or it's the emotional blockages, or it's the trauma that for whatever reason, you may be refusing to heal and work with. That's what betrays us. It's not our body, and it's not your heart, and it's not your gut. So interestingly enough, I'm getting ready for another cleanse at the end of the month, which I'm so excited about, because I know that my gut instincts are so clear right now what's going to happen when I experience that next level of reunification with my intestines and my organs and everything coming into that next level alignment. It's so exciting. So the way to decipher if you're getting mixed messages from a part of your body that is actually signaling to you a truth, a courageous yes or a courageous no, is to call in the Ascended Masters and get their biofeedback as well. Ask their help for, like, hey, I keep thinking I'm getting a yes on this. Help me really make sure in my body if that's real. Because I struggle in my sacral chakra, or I struggle with connecting my heart. That's why we invoke their mentorship. They help us see through all of the illusions that we've built up within ourselves towards ourselves. So that's a little bit about that, folks. Thanks for joining me for today's KR Daily Transmission in all of its hot mess human glory. Hope it's been helpful, even at the very least, to just discover that you can have all your feelings and still step up to the mic and be of service in your very authentic human embodiment. Thank you for your loving support this morning. It's been a very special week to discuss strength and courage with you. And I'm really looking forward to continuing that conversation next week. So have a beautiful, blessed day or evening wherever you are in the world. Be brave, be courageous, be strong, be that divine love that you came here to be in this world, first for yourself and then for others. Namaste.